Expectations are raised and then hopes are dashed because of how long anything takes to get done. We have an urgent need for jobs and growth. We can't wait while the administration works at an indolent pace. There's also been very slow progress on tightening the law against illegal mining. It would take changes to just one paragraph of the MPRDA to properly criminalize illegal mining. One might think that would be quick and easy to do so. Not so. We've heard about an entire General Laws Amendment Bill that is wending its way through the sclerotic cabinet processes. In the meantime, there has been a pleasing increase in arrests for illegal activity, but how many convictions will there be if the law is not there to underpin them? The government has not got its act together on oil and gas. Now we have reports that oil and gas major Total is going to walk away from its offshore oil discoveries at Luiperd and Brulpadda off the coast of Mossel Bay. The company is not confirming this, but sources say it may happen. By some accounts, Total has spent about 10 billion rand drilling and finding these resources. They lie far offshore in technically difficult terrain, but their biggest reason for the lack of interest in developing it is said to be the failure to secure a solid offtake customer for the product. One place it could be used is in a gas-to-power plant. But if the oil company can't be assured of an offtake, it's not going to be worthwhile for them spending more on that project. Another possible destination for gas is the Mossgas gas-to-liquid fuel plant, which government wants Russian funding to refurbish. People are speculating that the reason for Russian involvement is so that Russian gas can be imported and whitewashed through the plant and sold as South African fuel to get around sanctions. The minister has a chance now to say this is not going to happen. I hope he uses that chance. We can't sacrifice the prospect of jobs and income for our people because the ANC wants to remain friends with Russia. If somebody spends billions discovering a resource, government needs to facilitate them finding an outlet. If they do not, nobody will invest money in finding resources. The Petroleum Agency says this project could contribute 9 billion rand annually to government income. We dare not drop this ball. One of the items on the department's to-do list is the rewriting of the MPRDA. The ANC has said it wants to include some of the elements of the last rejected version of the mining charter in the rewrite. The simple question in this regard is, will it make our mining industry more investable? We've all seen how badly we're faring on the Fraser Institute rankings of investable mining jurisdictions. So unless the answer to that question is yes, the minister should steer well clear of this. We have a changed political reality in South Africa. We can use it as an opportunity to change our economic fate. If we try to continue with business as usual, the downward trend will continue and an escape from poverty will be denied to hundreds of thousands of our people.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is from the MK, the Honourable Ndlela. Honourable Members, to the best of my knowledge, this is a maiden speech.
Don't intimidate me. You're welcome to do as you please. Honourable Speaker, respected members of Parliament, today I rise on behalf of MK Party under the leadership of President Jacob Zuma and our party leader Dr. John Hlophe to oppose the Mineral and Petroleum Resources bill and vote. Oppose. I'm very well versed in the English language, by the way. The mineral and petroleum sectors hold a vast potential for economic development, with South Africa having an existing refinery, the second largest on the continent, an asset which we are underutilizing as a country. This asset has anchored SADC fuel demand for the past 3 or so decades to the benefit of multinationals. However, we as Mkhonto Wesizwe want 100% ownership of the asset back to the state. In the past 2 decades, South Africa has grown in excess of over 500 business and enterprises that can benefit immediately at the back of this asset using very innovative trading and financing leverages, which are being blocked by the current imperial beneficiaries. We therefore urge the state to have a very economical, transformative approach on this asset. Having said that, the upstream operation as a country has been lagging for years whereby other African states are now taking advantage of our latency. The LNG saga in Mozambique is a clear demonstration. We are aware that certain private sector entities have secured molecule to service the growing need of product for the industrialization of our country. We as Umkhonto weSizwe, having studied the SADC master plan, are aware that we need to urgently energize and take lead using our own South Africa academia, entrepreneurs, and other stakeholders. At the right platform, Chairperson, we would like to make pragmatic recommendations that are specific with a special focus to certain provinces, in particular KZN, our province, Free State, our other province, Eastern Cape, our other province, Western Cape, soon to be our province, on an accelerated energy industrialization program and can do and achieve within the next 5 years of this administration. However, the current system overwhelmingly favors established white-owned businesses, leaving our most disadvantaged communities behind. The wealth generated from our national resources must be used to address unemployment, poverty, and inequality in the townships as well as the rural areas. Now, when we look at the issues relating to nationalization and equitable growth, Minister, the MK Party believes in nationalization of the mineral sector. The minerals environment has been regressing but consistently benefiting a few at the expense of the majority. Hence, we've always been calling that we need to change this constitution and able to ensure organic transformation so that we can actually nationalize specific mining assets. We, as MKP, have engaged with the various stakeholders and are aware of the potential danger and explosion of this bubble. In our approach, we believe that now that we have this convenient GNU, and we are stuck with it, let's really look at the position of all these programs, such as the Richards Bay program, the IDP, and other initiatives. By doing so, we can ensure that the benefits of these resources are distributed equitably among South Africans, not just the privileged few. Nationalization will enable us to channel profits into public investments, infrastructure development, social programs that directly benefit the people. We need to nationalize strategic assets and ensure the beneficiation and the organic beneficiation of our people. Chairperson, a case in point, you could look at the SAPREF, which should be refining its own products for sale and distribution via PetroSA as a retail network. Now, Mozambique, just next door, in a form of Petromark, has got the same kind of establishment as a retail network that works. This alone will have a significant impact on the basic fuel price and therefore having a dominant effect on the inflation and the cost of living of our people overall. Chairperson, why should we be dictated to as to where we should be getting our oil from? For example, why can't we source our oil from Russia, who is a member of BRICS, when it's to the benefit of our country and its people? A case in point, I'll give you an example. PetroSA, Minister knows this, found itself having to beg Shell to offload a vessel of product in Mossel Bay when it was actually for a critical function in the form of load shedding, because it was believed that the product was coming from Russia. Whose country is this? Why should we be begging a multinational to offload our own product, which is a mission-critical product for the nation? Energy security is what we stand for. It is a constitutional imperative that the government provides services to all and never leaves anyone behind. We have three main priorities.
or justification. Responsible and transparent manner. We cannot agree on the policy direction of the department minister, but we can satisfy ourselves that we have done our work thoroughly and we have engaged the report thoroughly. But this time round, because the president of the GNU, led by the Democratic Alliance and the Oppenheimers, was late to form government, which delayed the work of Parliament, those that are standing here to want to play to the gallery and support this report knows for themselves they have not gone through this report thoroughly, and they are just doing this for compliance and a tick box exercise. House Chair, on a more substantial matter of policy, we must reject the decision of Mr. Ramaphosa to once again separate the minerals department within two ministers. We were satisfied with minerals and energy being one department, but because Mr. Ramaphosa needed to make spaces for his GNU partners, he needed once again to separate this critical department to make space for his GNU partners. Well, Mr. Steenhuisen and Dean could have well aware be there in some ministries being secretaries or go back to school. They don't need to be ministers because they suffer some incompetencies. We must be unapologetic of the use of our natural resources, particularly coal, to ensure that there is enough electricity generation, not only to meet the current demand, but also for industrialization and economic growth. Lastly, Chair, we must not get into the details. We didn't get into the details, CFO, of the health and safety, because only 2.7% of your budget is going to health and safety. And that is wrong. It's a major crisis within the energy sector. And for your budget to only give us 2.7%, and we don't know exactly where that 2.7% is going to be spent, Minister, within your budget. We didn't get enough time, Minister, to also address the issue of the fuel syndicate that are busy contaminating our fuel supply within the country. Those things need to be published and there must be open accountability. We cannot be told as a committee, no, there is a syndicate and we can't investigate them and we leave it as such. There must be a broader, and South Africans must be taken into account of these syndicates that contaminate our fuel supply within the country. We are waiting with bated breath for your report, Minister. We know within this 5 years, we will still not get a report on the scarce minerals that is within our shores of South Africa. But as the EFF, we reject this report. Fighters, let's gather on the 27th of July for our 11th celebration in Northern Cape at the AR Abo Sports Center to celebrate the anniversary of the EFF. We reject this report because we are not here to do a rush situation. We are not part of your rush engagements of your GNU. We want proper time to engage reports and not to be rushed in your GNU partnerships in order to go and loot money. You are in a rush to close up the debts that you have made for your elections, and we're not going to be party to that. So if you have promised the Oppenheimers more money, you're not going to get it this term. Minister, we reject this.
Order, order. The next speaker is the Honourable Sitole of the IFP.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Let me correct one thing. I'm standing in for Honourable Sitole. We are truly blessed country when it comes to mineral wealth, as South Africa remains home to the greatest mineral wealth in the world, estimated to be worth $2.5 trillion, with the world's fifth largest mining sector. However, we continue to fail to take advantage We also want to reiterate, as we've urged the previous administration, ukuthi azoxoxiswa ngaphakathi ukuze kwandiswe amathuba emisebenzi abantu bekwazi ukusebenza. Kwashiwo nje ngomlomo lokho kodwa asibonanga kwenzeka. Imisebenzi ayikho. Kunjani nje? Kuyenziwa qha. Kubuye sekuxoxisiwe abantu behleli bengasebenzi. Nanxa umuntu esekushilo konke lokho ngiyafisa kodwa usho ukuthi iIFP iyakusupporta ibudget yakhe. Ngiyabonga.
to enable him to speak in another debate, to which we have exceeded. The Honourable Thring.
Thank you, Honourable House Chairperson. The ACDP notes the budget decrease in 2023-24 to some 8.8 billion in the financial year. The budget increase in the Policy Development Management sub-program of over 110% is to promote and encourage investment in the mining and energy industry. In this regard, the ACDP echoes the concerns of bottlenecks that exist in the issuing of mining rights, permits, and prospecting rights. Additionally, pertaining to the subject of illegal miners, the ACDP raised the need to address the current legal conundrum or lacuna that will welcome legislation in this regard. Honourable House Chairperson, if there is any department capable of implementing the policy of beneficiation, it is this one. South Africa continues to export the bulk of its precious raw material and then imports the finished products, while having one of the highest unemployment rates in the world, with youth unemployment also on the increase. The Minister, in response to my question, raised as an impediment to beneficiation the high cost of energy. While this may sound plausible, it is unacceptable. Interventions can and must be made to significantly increase the amount of raw materials beneficiated in South Africa, thereby increasing our employment ranks locally. And the ACDP in this regard has actually called for a beneficiation index to be implemented so that we can actually track the rate of progress or regress with regards to beneficiation. On the Nuclear Non-Proliferation and Radiation Security Sub-Program, the concern of the ACDP regarding nuclear energy plants was always the consideration for safety, particularly when it comes to toxic nuclear waste, its longevity and the limitations in dealing with this waste. Honourable Chairperson, the ACDP asserts that a just energy transition that excludes the use of coal in the energy mix would be unjust. Let's note that the European Union is the second largest destination for South African coal after India. Our coal exports to the EU has increased by over 720%, yet the EU calls for us to close our coal-fired power stations. As of July 2022, China had more than half of the world's new coal power station capacity, with 118 coal power stations, building 2 coal power stations per week. The USA has 285 coal-fired power stations, India 222. South Africa has 14 coal power stations, an energy crisis, high unemployment, poverty and inequality, and 200 years worth of high-quality coal beneath our soil. Not to use this coal with clean coal technology to protect our environment would be unjust and tantamount to deliberately sabotaging our economy. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, the next party entitled to take part in the debate is Action SA. Is there a member of Action SA ready to take the podium?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the honourable ministers present. We are newcomers to this, and one of the challenges we have is lack of information and having to make these informed decisions about the budget. So our plea is to ensure that we be given information and time to be able to engage. The biggest threat to mankind today have been destroyed by the hurry to export coal, amongst others. We have moved from the lowest electricity producer in 2000 to unaffordable electricity for our people. So whilst we talk about the potential riches that come from mining, we need to ensure that people are not left behind. We hope we will hear about households being able to contribute and earn from clean energy production from their roofs and how they can be assisted. We hope that the issue of environmental degradation and rehabilitation of communities post-mining are taken into account. We worry about sustainability when you are given a school, you are given a clinic, and you can't employ health professionals sustainably for those services. You can't have drugs, you can't have equipment. So we would like more coherence on the benefits to society with other departments so that these benefits are sustainable. We have countries like Singapore that have no minerals, but have jobs and social security for their residents. We are endowed with minerals. Let us ensure that the leadership we have ensures that our citizens do not lack for basics. When you export raw materials to the developed world, let beneficiation stop being lip service. Let it be a reality so that we can increase foreign revenues and be able to create jobs. What we ask is for developmental leadership so that we stop being crybabies. We lack proper guidance and information and clarity on these issues to be able to give you full support. We do not want to create paralysis. And we say, Minister, have the budget, but this should be the last time that people are asked to support budgets blindly. Let us all be given critical information so that we can make informed decisions and contribute constructively to the repair and the rebuild of our country.
Honorable Zibi from RISE. The Honorable Deputy Minister.
Thank you so much, Honorable House Chair, the Minister of Minerals and Petroleum Resources, Mr. Samson Gwede-Mantatch, and of course the Minister of Energy here, members of Parliament, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Mineral, Comrade Manka, and the entire team, and of course the DG and the entire officials in the ministry. It gives me a great pleasure to really, and a privilege to address you, though I thought all of us, it's our maiden speech because it's our first time. This is the 7th administration, so I am doing a maiden speech at this point. But I'm also want to say that one is humbled really to be entrusted for me with great appreciation for really to address and be in this ministry. It is often said that it is not grown, it is mined. For us as South Africans who have over a century benefited from the mineral endowment that our nation is blessed with, however, that is not without limitation. Coming from an era of pit-to-port approach to mining, the entrenchment of the Mineral and Petroleum Resources Act in 2022 and the introduction of the Mining Charter in 2004 presented significant changes in the living conditions of mining communities and labor-sending areas, transformed the working conditions of mine workers, and paved the way for the participation of previously disadvantaged people, in particular women and youth, in this sector. Notwithstanding the ongoing review of the MPRDA, it is also encouraging that since the introduction of the Act, the black ownership in the mining industry has really increased from 2% to 39%, as stated by the President Cyril Ramaphosa during the mining Indaba earlier this year. Furthermore, the fact that women participated in the industry and has increased to 72,000 women, of which some hold executive positions in global companies that we have since, and as we record, we have the second female president of Mineral Council in South Africa. I think you should clap hands. That's such a great achievement. That means that the industry is beginning to embrace this transformation we're speaking about. We are, however, mindful of the fact that despite our country's endowment with its world's greatest reserves, being the platinum, gold, metals, these natural resources are largely exported out of the country in their raw form. Hence, we are also concerned about it, therefore exporting the jobs and the profit, and that's what we're also extrapolating as part of the challenges that we face, that we must ensure that we accrue to the people of South Africa. It is against this background that we continue to promote the local beneficiation of these natural resources, reality of the matters that South Africa, to efficiently eradicate this poverty, unemployment and inequality, it will also require more rapid and inclusive economic growth. Hence, beneficiation at source becomes critical. To this end, government will continue to investment. Yes. Oh.
Talk to the mic. Chair. Talk to the mic. Talk to the mic. We can't hear you, Chair.
Please stop the mic. Stop the clock for me.
It's green. Let it be red. Yes.
Honorable Deputy Minister, can you just please take the chair? Can you please raise on your point of order?
Thank you, Chair. No, Chair, I just wanted to check if it's parliamentary, and I also just wanted the Minister to just breathe and drink water, because it fools. So I just wanted to give her some break. So I just wanted to check, is it parliament?
There's no point of order.
You're abusing us.
Minister, you can continue.
No, Chair, she's abusing us.
All right, thank you so much. That 1 minute, I need it back. Yes, that's good. Thank you so much. I'm not going to brief. I have 5 minutes, so I need to cover you because I want to come and sweep you from what you also spoke to, which is nothing much really about, rather about your celebration and so forth. So I want to come there. So I wanted to say to this government, we continue to invest in of new mineral resources that promoting the emergence of new mines and ensure that women and young people become active participants in the extraction, exploitation of a national minerals endowment. So I want to come quickly because I wanted to sweep quickly just what the honorable member spoke to, especially from the EFF. The point around the health and safety, I mean, really the budget at this point is for inspections, and that's what we do around inspection of policy and regulations and the results to drive policy and government. That's why it's important for you to come here and use this platform to make sure that government does its work and you are able to deal with the budget, besides speaking about all your parties and all of that. The policy direction of the department is quite important. The president and the minister will also deal with the issues of coal at this point. I think there's a point around the DA. I also would wanted the DA to really speak about what ideas are you bringing. The only thing I hear, you're ranting and complaining without really giving out solutions around the matters. So I want to say to yourself to respond to you and give information. The government procurement process, when it comes to this department, around the issue of sourcing, the source solution from 3 companies, and 3 companies bidded in a consortium. That you need to understand. It was a consortium, hence it took too long. Am I being stopped? Oh.
Your time is up, Deputy Minister.
Oh, okay. I support the budget votes.
Honorable members, can we have order? Honorable Minister, do you have a point of order?
Can we have please order in this house? Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable member. Can you please, do you want to raise a point? Do you want to raise a point of order? Do you want to raise a point of order? If not, can you please keep quiet or leave the chamber? Do you want to raise a point of order? Do any one of the three of you want to raise a point of order? If you don't want, you can leave the chamber. Honourable member.
Thank you. Thank you very much, House Chair. I rise on a point of order that heckling is allowed, as we know, all of us, but drowning a speaker to an extent where we can't hear the speaker is just not on, and we would want to plead with Honorable Ntangweni and the team to heckle, not disrupt, because we also had an opportunity where we did not agree with Chair, can I be protected?
Honourable members, can we have order, please? Honourable members, I have the duty. Honourable members, I have the duty to ensure a smooth conduct of procedures. At this moment, there is no smooth conduct of procedures. I have to ensure that the privileges of all members of the sitting are protected. If a member does not wish to participate in the proceedings, he or she is free not to do so. Such a position, however, cannot mean that the House must be prevented from carrying out its constitutional mandate. What I see now, what we've experienced now, is the abuse of the privilege of freedom of speech, and that is unacceptable. I warn you, honourable members, I'm not taking any further points of order, and I will not allow any loud drowning out of the speakers, because this procedure of points of order is being abused. A member conducting him or herself like this is acting disorderly, in contempt, and is in complete disregard of the authority of the chair. A member who does this will be asked to leave the chamber. Please, members, can we continue in a more fashionable way, not drowning out? You may heckle, but please don't drown out, and don't have personal discussions while members are at the chair. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair.
Ruled. If you have to raise your hand on the same rule.
I think you are out of order even for yourself. You can't, it's unparliamentary to say you are not going to accept point of orders. Because if something arises along the way, you need to point.
I ask you, honourable member, do you want to raise on a point of the same,
No, it's not. To say that I can't rise on a point of order. You said you're not going to accept any other. You need to be specific whether on this point or on other points.
Honourable member, I ask you, do you want to rise on the same point of order? Do you have a new point of order?
I think you've understood my argument, Chair. Thank you.
Honourable member, do you want to rise on a new point of order or the same point of order? Can you state your new point of order? Not your.
Sihlalo engusho mina ukuthi uma uzothi ngeke usawamukela amanye ama point of order. Ngithi ngicela ukuthi ube specific usitshele kahle ukuthi usho kule point esikhuluma ngalo noma nje going forward kuze kuphela umhlangano. Indlu izihlanze awuziwamukela ama point of order ikona bengibuza lokho bengikusho ukuthi awukwazi ukuthi ngeke uwamukela ama point of order ngoba akukho parliamentary. Ngiyabonga.
Honourable, I couldn't hear. Yeah, but what did he say?
Yeah, I didn't hear what he said.
Okay. Honourable member, can you please repeat what you said? Because while you were speaking, I couldn't follow the translation.
For the time of the sitting, ngiyashaya sihlalo. Ngiyabonga. Ngiyacanga ukuthi ngizwile.
Honourable Member. If that is how you want to do it, that's fine. Honourable Member, your point of order. Yes.
Ngibonga wesihlalo lapho ngaphambili. Bengithi ngaphambi kokuthi kudlulelwe phambili. Uyayisho imithetho yala eParliament. Kodwa lokho ukuthi sibizwe ngeteam. Ngifuna ukwazi qala i-team uyayazi ukuthi yini kudlalwa ibhola yini lana noma kusinwa ingoma yini la. Ngicela manje umtshela ukuthi ahoxise ukuthi usibiza ngeteam. Asona i-team thina lana. Asini ingoma la. Angazi uyabona nje ngamanye amazwi ukusidelela lokho. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Unfortunately, I will not rule and deal with teams. I will deal with individuals, so that's not a point of order. Can we please continue? Honourable Member, your point of order, please.
Che, na kensa swinene ngopfu. Ule ku vulavuleni che ene a hi le ku tweni ku ri u ri yini anti swa ku u vulavula na mani because you should be able to speak to us.
I'm Honourable Rabaskachni. I'm the acting chair of this session. Thank you very much. Can we continue, please? The next speaker is Honourable Zizi of Rise. Thank you. Zibi. Honourable Zibi.
Chairperson, honourable members, Minister and Deputy Minister. Oh.
Just continue. Just continue.
It was just over 12 years ago at the mining Indaba. One of your predecessors, Minister, promised a one-stop shop for licensing and mining operations to facilitate investment. This would process exploration, mining and integrated water use license applications. This would be accompanied by a cadastral system that would improve transparency and efficiency of license application processing. Okay.
The mic is green, Chairperson. On a point of order, Chair.
What is your point of order?
Thank you, Chair. I think it's quite disappointing, and we must note the disappointment of the EFF, that there's one, we have mentioned about this, and there are even whoops here, you are a House Chairperson, that we don't have translation services here. And it's quite disappointing, even for you as a presiding officer, when members of parliament are raising points of orders, and for you not to even entertain that or come back to them and say that I did understand, or this is how I'm ruling. So that is, it's very disappointing. If you're going to continue presiding like this as a presiding officer, this will be a huge problem for us because we cannot continue like this. Each member is entitled to speak whatever language of choice, and they are entitled to be heard on whatever point of order. We are individual members of parliament that comes here and address us individually, not as a group and as a team. It was a ruling once before. If the member don't, he can go and ask the Minister of Agriculture. He have a PhD in studying the rules of parliament. That is the only PhD he will ever have in his entire life.
I'm busy checking. I don't know if I think it was there.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. I do accept the point that you said that if the translation is not working, I'm not aware of that. That is a problem, and I just spoke to the table staff, and that we will have look into that. I fully agree on that. Thank you very much. Can we continue? Honourable Zibi.
Minister, that was 12 years ago. Today, we are still talking about the same. Also, it was 17 years ago that I was involved in discussions with officials of your department to regulate the increasing export of unbeneficiated chrome ore to China. At the time, the Chinese were using our ore to build a ferrochrome industry, while we have a natural endowment that should make us a dominant player in South Africa. Today, China is a major ferrochrome producer at our expense. That intervention never happened, even though there was a bilateral agreement with China that said minerals must be beneficiated at source. What the Chinese are producing at home should be exported from South Africa, not produced in China. Today, the same intervention against export of unbeneficiated ore would probably sink a few major operators in that sector because they themselves have come to rely on ore exports. This is unsustainable. Minister, we need mining sub-sector strategies immediately after the review we're talking about and a commitment to act with speed. We can no longer continue to be mere price takers even in minerals where we are supposed to be the dominant resource owner in the world. The mining sector is a significant economic driver in South Africa, employing just under 500,000 people, with about 782 billion rand in exports last year. These numbers might sound impressive, but they could be much bigger. We need a strong, efficient, and fair regulator that moves with speed. Unfortunately, you told me you're a sprinter in your day. We cannot wait so many years while we have so much unemployment and poverty in South Africa. The same applies to prospecting rights and exploration licenses. If we are serious about growing our economy, the mining sector, the department needs to, among other things, fulfill the commitment to establish the electronic system you are talking about. Next year, Minister, we cannot be speaking about future activities when you come back here. Secondly, the amendments to the MPRDA you referred to must result in a one-stop shop for mining and related permits, where various permits can be obtained in a single location with the interdependent departments working closely together. Finally, Minister, please speak to the Minister of Finance about tax incentives for junior and in particular women and black-owned mining firms, and between you and the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, support these firms with grants, competitive loans and access to markets. If we, all of us in this House, can achieve this, then we can create more jobs, put food on tables and build communities where people live dignified lives. I thank you.
The next member is from, I don't have a name. The next party is the NCC. I don't have a name here. Is there any member of the NCC? Not here. Then we move on to the UAT, Honorable Mashlati. Latsi. Yeah. Not here. Then we are moving on to the next party. That's the next speaker is Honorable Milam from the DA.
House Chairperson, the Democratic Alliance welcomes the new energy that has emerged in the Department of Energy and Electricity through the appointment of a new minister and deputy minister. It is no secret that the previous minister and the old Department of Mineral Resources and Energy was moribund and lethargic in their approach to dealing with the energy crisis in South Africa. This means that there is a mountain to climb if we are to address the challenges facing our country and our economy. After 104 load-shedding free days, Eskom has this week reintroduced what they call load reduction in network congested areas. Now let's be very clear. Load reduction is just load shedding by another name. Our number one priority, therefore, must be to create more generation capacity, in whatever form, to address the supply shortfall. As the winter weather worsens, demand will increase and our aging infrastructure will not be able to cope. One of the major challenges identified as constraining generation capacity is the availability of access to the transmission grid. And this talks directly to the network congestion argument being offered by Eskom. hear this. It talks about procuring nuclear at a pace and scale the country can afford. Now, that immediately implies that it will be a phased approach. And yet, this is very different.
The next speaker is Honorable Sen from the ANC. As far as I know, it's a maiden speech.
House Chairperson, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Minister, Honorable Members, it is an honor and privilege for me as a new member to participate in this debate on behalf of my party. Attractive jurisdiction for mining investment by the Fraser Institute Annual Survey of Mining Companies. Therefore, the department is worsening the well-being of South Africans. Let us look closely at the facts. Between 2019 through 2022, mining gross value addition grew by 16%, mining gross fixed capital grew by 2.8%, total mining revenue grew by 17.4% from a low base value of 551 billion rand to 881 billion rand, driven by improved commodity prices and sales. The number of legally recognized and compliant mines grew from 1,948 to 2,056, and the mining employment growth rate increased by 0.6% from 459,528 to 464,615. Clearly, the Budget Vote 34 has a strong commitment to deepen macroeconomic performance of the minerals and mining industry in the current financial year. In the 2024-2025 financial year, Budget Vote 34 concerns itself with reviewing the Minerals and Petroleum Resources Development Act in the hope of charting policy and regulatory certainty for the minerals and mining industry. Specifically, the expected effectiveness of the reviewed MPRDA will reduce red tape and improve the business environment, arguably signaling the creditworthiness of the South African minerals and mining industry to the investors. Already, there is growth in this sector, particularly in Limpopo province. The reviewing of MPRDA will be complemented by the rollout of a web-based mining license applications system designed to meet the objectives of reducing mining license backlog and ensuring that transparency, fairness, effectiveness, and efficiency are entrenched in the mining applications process. The growing trend in illegal mining has spread concerns about the safety and operations of mines in South Africa, which has in turn produced some amongst investors in this sector. Given these concerns, Budget Vote 34 commits to the rehabilitation of 3 derelict and ownerless asbestos mines with an annual budget of 143 million rands. Additionally, 40 unsafe mine shafts will be sealed off, thus not only signaling improved safety and operations of mines in South Africa, on investing accelerated inclusive growth. The number of envisaged 8,000 jobs in the minerals and mining industry through the issuing of mining rights in the 2024-2025 financial year supports that economic priority. This much needed 8,000 jobs will increase individual incomes required for boosting domestic aggregate demand. In turn, the aggregate demand growth will impel suppliers in the domestic economy to create sustainable jobs to match the increasing demand for goods and services, and this will complement the government's efforts in spurring the private sector on to contribute to the gross fixed capital formation, an important contributor to our gross domestic production. Besides, the budget vote 34 intends to complete 132 social and labor plans in 2024-2025 financial year. The importance of SLPs is that they bind mining communities to pursue corporate practice that improve the living conditions of surrounding mining communities through sustainable livelihoods. In that way, the industry contributes by means in giving concrete expression to the Freedom Charter's call for the nation's wealth to be used for the well-being of the people. If mining companies commit to their SLPs and social compact, this will increase and surpass the 8,000 targeted jobs through the issuing of mining rights. To safeguard the lot of HDSAs in the minerals and mining industry, Budget Vote 34 commits to the implementation of the mining sector women empowerment strategy, the gender equality and the mining sector youth empowerment strategy, and the artisanal and small-scale mining policy geared towards improving the participation of the HDSAs, especially women, youth, and people with disabilities. With this unified approach, the social justice, equity, and redress, we will be truly translating into action the ideals of our Constitution of non-racialism, non-sexism, and democracy, and the dreams of the founding mothers and fathers of our constitutional democracy. More crucially, since most disadvantaged sections of our society do not have adequate access to capital markets, has an appetite to aversion to risks. Budget Vote 34 provides financial support to small-scale miners and junior mining companies to improve their productive capabilities in the minerals and mining industry. This financial support will be possible through a strategic collaboration between the Industrial Development Corporation and the department. That is why Budget Vote 34 commits 80 million rands and the IDC a further 200 million rands to establish a dedicated exploration funds for mining, aimed not only at ensuring sustainability, but future growth of the minerals and mining industry, with view to hedging small-scale miners and junior mining companies from inherent risks in mining exploration. With that being said, the ANC supports the adoption of Budget Vote 34. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable. That is now the Honourable Minister of Mineral Resources and Petroleum.
Thank you, House Chairperson. There's coincidence of MK and TA agreeing on something very strange, that mines must be nationalized. That's what the TA says. I think they agree with you. Now, I can assure the DA that we don't need the DA to talk to mine owners. We do that every day. We talk to mine owners every day. That's why they were happy with the reappointment of the same minister, who is the first minister who knows the sector. Yes, okay. Number two, Russian gas to be imported. I don't think we are ashamed of importing gas from Russia. We are members of BRICS. We want to increase trade with Russia. So if it is the allege for the DA to trade with Russia, We don't have that knowledge. Now, let me go to MK Party. MK Party talks about refining of Petro SA and do business with Russia. I want to remind my comrades there that in the years that somebody was leading the ANC, Petro SA was stripped to nothing. That is asset stripping by a leader that we know. Okay, that a leader that we know stripped Petro SA to nothing. Yes. Now, the point I'm making is that we must not play to the gallery here. Let's talk facts. Now, in terms of access to electricity, it has increased from 34% in 1994 to 93% today. We're close to universal access to electricity. I want to leave it there. On the EFF, I think it is important to appreciate that anyway, I don't remember EFF voting with us on any budget speech. It doesn't matter which year, every year. So when you say you reject the budget speech, you do what we are expecting of you. Now, let me go to clean energy production. There were SSA, no employment of professionals. I don't know what is professionals, because in the energy sector, that's where there's no shortage of professionals. The cadastral system, Honorable Zebi, is underway, is being implemented. All we are saying is that